making Portuguese style pot roast chicken legs with roasted potatoes on the side. And I chose red potatoes today. You could use any other type of potato you'd like. I also went ahead and took off the chicken leg skin. We want to take off the skin because you don't want it to be like really soft and like mushy. It is going to be pot roasted. If we were to oven roast or toss it on a barbecue, then yeah, you definitely want to leave the skin because you want it to be nice and crisp and delicious. We're going to be using specific seasonings today, like sea salt. You don't necessarily need to use sea salt. You could use regular salt. This sea salt doesn't have iodide. You could go ahead and purchase one that does supply that. We're going to use ground black pepper, garlic powder, ground bay leaves, some Spanish paprika, cayenne pepper to give it that extra spicy kick, some turmeric. Gives it that yellow coloring. Not only does it give it yellow coloring, but it's also good for your memory, avoiding Alzheimer's disease, and some ground cloves. Salt. You don't want to use too much salt in your cooking, like overdo it. I know a lot of people just pour so much salt. You do need it for flavoring, and I will be using an adequate amount, but of course it's bad for your high blood pressure, so don't overdo the salt. I will show you exactly how I'm going to season everything. And we're also going to be using golden cooking wine. You could alternate for white cooking wine. They both work perfectly fine. And I'm not sure if I already mentioned olive oil. We have 2 large onions over here and bay leaves. The bay leaves, you could either use bay leaves or the ground bay leaf powder. Today I'm going to use ground bay leaf powder because it's going to give it a more intense flavor. It's a little bit stronger than just using the regular bay leaf, but if you don't have ground bay leaf powder and you have the leaves, go ahead and use the leaves. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and start seasoning our chicken. Over here I have a pressure cooker. It will cook your chicken legs much quicker. I do recommend using a pressure cooker if you have one at home. If you don't, any crock pot with a lid will definitely work, but with the pressure cooker, this should be cooked in less than 15 to 20 minutes, and again, it will make your meat extra tender. We're going to start with just drizzling a little bit of olive oil at the bottom of the pan. You don't really need too much, just enough to give it that nice coating at the bottom of the pan. I'm going to go ahead and just dump the chicken right in my pan. I don't want to use my hands because this is raw poultry, you know. Salmonella, all those diseases. Of course, my hands are washed, and I will wash them again as soon as I'm done with this video. We're going to go ahead and start seasoning with our main ingredients. Try to open that up. All right. We're going to just use an adequate amount of salt. Okay, that should be enough right there. We're going to go ahead and put some pepper. I like pepper. We're going to use an adequate amount. You don't need no more than that. Okay. Some garlic powder. I love garlic. You could put as much as you'd like, a little less, a little more. I like to use an adequate amount, so that's how much garlic powder I'm going to put. We're going to go ahead and use the ground bay leaf powder. Again, I'm not using the bay leaves, but if you don't have the bay leaf powder, you could use the bay leaves. Just need a little bit of that, not too much. And the Spanish paprika, which is also good for you. It's good for your heart too. So we're going to use an adequate amount of the Spanish paprika. And now cayenne pepper. This is very spicy, so try not to put try not to put too much of cayenne, because that is definitely going to give you your spiciness right there. Some turmeric. Okay. And our ground cloves. Just a little bit of that. Okay. And we're also going to use a little bit of Mazola, which is it's chicken flavored bouillon. You could get this in cubes. This is already powdered for you, and it comes in this Mazola jar. We're going to use that. Gives it some really good flavoring. Okay, just add a little bit of that. Okay. I like to drizzle just a little bit more olive oil over my chicken. You know, it helps to give it extra flavor and to also make sure the chicken ain't sticking at the bottom of the pan. We're gonna go ahead and bring this over to your stovetop. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and raise the heat to about a medium low. Okay, and as that starts to heat, we're gonna go and add our golden cooking wine in now. And you're gonna pour an adequate amount. You wanna make sure that the cooking wine is gonna be surfacing kind of on top of the chicken legs. We are gonna add a little bit of water to this as well, so you're not just adding cooking wine. So as you see, I'm adding a pretty decent amount, and that should be good right about there. Now I'm gonna add a cup of water. Okay, 1 cup of water. All right. And as that heats, we're gonna bring it to a simmer. Once your chicken starts to simmer, we'll go ahead and move along to the next process. I'm gonna put the lid on. I'm not gonna seal it entirely. I'm just putting it on just like that, just to give it some quick simmer. Once it starts to simmer, we'll move along. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start with the next process, which is gonna be adding the onions. We already have the chicken at a simmer. You want to come over here and take a look real quick. I did mix it up a little bit. You guys didn't actually catch me do that, just to get all the seasonings that were on top of the chicken all to the, you know, mixed up and all around the bottom and the top of the pan. So we mixed that up, and that's already simmering, so that's good. We are going to start by slicing the onion in 4. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do both right now. Those are real big chunks, so I'm gonna chop them down a little bit more. Okay. Oops. And that's gonna go right into our pot as soon as I'm done chopping these up. Okay. Now you could chop them down a little bit more fine. They are supposed to like be kind of big though, like these type of rounds. And this will break apart in your pot as it starts to get softer and caramelize and all that other good stuff. So we'll go ahead and just toss this in right now. Oops, dropped a little bit on the floor. Don't want to do that. We'll go ahead and just toss those onions in right now. Okay. And let that go ahead and start simmering. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the potatoes, which is gonna be our side. I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna cut the potatoes, and then from there I'll go ahead and just quickly do the rest. So we're gonna grab 1 potato, the same process that I did with the onion. We're gonna go ahead and cut it down the middle. And once you cut it down the middle, we're gonna just take it and we're gonna cut these half circles. Okay, and that's gonna be our roasted potatoes. I'll come back once this is all cut up. You also, once you already tossed in the onion, just give it a little mix, you know, get all those flavors and juices together. Make sure the onion is going to bring that flavor all over your chicken, along with the seasonings. This smells amazing. Amazing. You guys are going to love this. Definitely need to try this. Right, I'm gonna work on the potatoes and I'll be right back. All right, I have the red potatoes all cut up. As you see, we went ahead and cut them in half circles. That's exactly around the consistency and size you're gonna want them. Now they still have like little bits of peel and potato shreddings, so we're gonna give that a rinse, and we're just gonna rinse that in cold water. Try to get all of that dirt off of the potatoes, and just get rid of that water. Okay, give it another rinse. rinse it twice. Make sure you got rid of all that there, because you don't want that there to go back into the potatoes when you start cooking them. Now we're gonna boil these potatoes before we even put them in the oven to roast. So what I went ahead and did while I chopped these up, I prepared a pot over here with some water, and I already got that simmering up. I also put the lid back on my chicken, guys. So you're gonna want to put the lid back on there as soon as you added the onions and everything, all the seasonings. Put the lid back on. You could raise the temperature at first. I didn't mention that in the beginning of the video, but you could put it on high at first to get that simmer process started a little bit quicker. Then go ahead and drop it down to medium once you have the lid on there. And like I said, about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, check it. You're gonna wanna like see if the chicken is basically nice and tender and soft, and I will show you guys that process. We're gonna go ahead and first take care of these potatoes. I'm gonna season this water with some salt. Some salt for flavoring. Let me go ahead, just give that a mix. Make sure the salt is dissolved in the water. Alright, looks great. I'm going to go ahead and add the potatoes right into that pot. I'm going to add them at the handful. I don't want to go ahead and just dump everything, or hot boiling water will probably jump up to my face, and I don't want that. Emergency. Definitely not something we want. Try to be safe while you cook. So just dump them in by the handfuls. Try to keep it towards the middle so you build up a nice pile so you're not dripping water all over yourself. Alright. Get all those potatoes in there. And these are going to boil probably for about 10 minutes. Don't want to cook them all the way through, but we are going to cook them enough where they are like pretty, not all the way soft, semi-soft. And I will cut a potato just to show you that consistency once we get to that part. So now that we have the potatoes in the water, I'm going to just put the lid back on there and let that boil for 10 minutes. If you want, you could just drop the heat a little so the water doesn't overflow, and if that happens, you could dump out some of the water if necessary if you added too much. I will come back once the potatoes are boiled, and we'll check on our chicken and move along with the next step. Okay, the potatoes have been boiling for about 10 to 12 minutes. Don't want to go any higher than that. And I'm just going to pull a potato out just to go ahead and check the consistency for you guys like I said I would. I'm going to just cut that. See, they cut, but they're not mashing. You don't want them to mash. They're going to be soft and not overly soft either, because like I said, the potatoes are going to finish the cooking process in the oven when we go ahead and roast them. I'm going to grab me some oven mitts here because this is very hot, and we're just going to go ahead and strain the potatoes in the strainer over here. Strain it very slowly. Don't want the water jumping up to your face. Just get all of them out of the pot and into the strainer, and we're going to go ahead and just let that strain. Lift it up, give it a nice little shake over there, get rid of all that water. Don't want any liquid in your baking pan. And I already set aside a 13 by 9 baking pan, or you could also call it a Pyrex. We're going to use a glass Pyrex today. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly take these potatoes over from the sink and right into the Pyrex. Just lay them right in there, like so. Just give it a little shake. Make sure they're lined up. We are going to season them with some olive oil, and we're just going to go ahead and give it a nice, decent drizzle of olive oil. Seems like the lid got stuck in there. All right, there we go. Just drizzle the olive oil all over your potatoes. This is going to give it an amazing flavor. Try to get every corner, every crevices. Alright, that should be good right there. We are going to use some garlic powder. And drizzle the garlic powder all over your potatoes. Want to make sure you get them all over. And we are also going to use some margarine. I got Blue Bonnet here. You could alternate with real butter. I definitely recommend it if you have it. Salted butter will be better. If you don't like salted, unsalted, I think the salted would give it a better flavor though. And we're just going to go ahead and slice the butter slices over the potatoes. And I do have the oven preheating as I do this right now. And it is preheating at 350 degrees. The chicken should also be done, so I'm going to go ahead and check that as soon as we pop these roasted potatoes in the oven. And I already did turn off the flame on the chicken. But we will just check that just to see how tender they are. So just go ahead and continue to cut the butter slices over your potatoes like so. The butter, the garlic, the olive oil, everything is going to give these potatoes the wonderful flavor you're looking for. You could drizzle some parsley flakes, not only for decor or also for flavor. I usually do put some on top of this, but today I don't have any parsley flakes. So we're just going to use the olive oil, garlic powder, and margarine. We're going to pop that into our heated 350 degree oven. You want it at center rack. We're going to bake those for about 20 minutes. You want them to have that golden, crisp consistency. They'll start to form a nice, crisp, crusty texture on the outside. Once you see that golden crust, they're ready. And I'll show you that as soon as they're done. They're going to be extra crisp, extra delicious. And here goes our chicken. It is ready. It's very tender. The meat almost literally falls out the bone. Very tender, very delicious, smells great. You guys are going to love this dish. Once the potatoes are done roasting, we'll go ahead and plate this wonderful dish and we'll go from there. Alright, I went ahead and pulled the roasted potatoes out and they look magnificent. See that nice golden texture? That's what you want to see. Like they have that nice crust around the edges. They're going to be nice and crisp around the edges, but still nice and soft in the middle. They won't be hard. Now I did increase the temperature after 10 minutes. I rose it up to 400 degrees and let them bake an additional 15 minutes. Now oven temperatures do vary. That's why I had to bump mine up a little bit because they weren't really crisping up to the consistency that they should have been. So you may want to just start roasting them at 400 degrees if you know that your oven heats up a little bit slower or doesn't heat up enough. We're going to go ahead and start plating this wonderful dish. Looks very good. I'll start with the potatoes. Just get us a nice look at all that olive oil and melted butter. Delicious flavor right there. Just put some potatoes. Some potatoes right there. You could put a little bit of that delicious butter and olive oil sauce right over the potatoes. Just give it that nice buttery garlic olive oil taste. We're going to come over here and serve our chicken legs. And these are extra tender. They look amazing. They smell amazing. Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm also going to use some of this broth. Just put it right over there. Some of the onion. Try to get some of that onion. Beautiful, right there. Nice. All right. Just get that over here. And there you are. Roasted potatoes with Portuguese style roasted chicken legs. And you could go ahead and serve this with a nice glass of red wine. You could also use white wine if that's what you like, a nice cold beer. It doesn't necessarily matter, whatever you like to drink with your meal. This is a very nice meal to feed your entire family. It's a little classy. It's not that difficult to make, as you've seen. Very tender meat. That meat is literally falling out the bone right there. It is so tender. Look at that. Look at this. Just falling off the bone right there. And I'd like to give this a try, so I'm going to give this a try right now. A little bit of that sauce, a little bit of this. You can subscribe to my channel. Please rate, comment. I will be making more videos soon, so please check me out. And I will check you guys out on the next episode.